this place. Fill this space. Fill this place. Fill this space.
Awaken my senses. You found me when colors fade, and lit up my heart again with joy I just can't contain. I see with new lenses. I filter the world through you, believing before I see. Your spirit has guided me. Taking all the old and made me new. I've never known a life this colorful. I've never felt so alive. You bring the color into my life. You give me life to the full. Whatever I'm facing, I know I can run to you. You're ready in my heart to fight and color my darkest night. Taking all the old and made me new. I've never known a life this colorful. I've never felt so alive. You bring the color into my life. You give me life to the full. I've never felt this free before. Your presence has me wanting more. I've never felt this free before. Your presence has me wanting more. You're taking all the old and made me new. I've never known a life this colorful. I've never felt so alive. I've never felt so alive. You bring the color into my life. You give life to the full.
I was distant, had a glimpse of life without you. Now I'm coming back to my senses. Couldn't make it on my own. From a long way off, you saw me, God, to the Father's love. I'm coming home. You
can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test. Cause I was lost until you found me. Now I know you're all around me. Nothing I could ever do could separate my love from you. You came to set us free. You came to set us free. I am no longer bound. Oh, you came to set us free. You came to set us free. I am no longer bound.
You take the good and the bad and the ugly. Yeah, you turn it around and work it for me. If it's a storm, no, the rain's good for me. Run up my cup, lift it up, make it holy. Anoint my head, oh Lord. Let me not forget, oh Lord. You've been too good to me. Don't know where I would be without you. You came to set us free. No longer bound, you came to set us free.
When I look in my hands, they look new. And
Hey, what's up? And welcome to the Ridge Community Church Online. My name is Kelly. I am on staff here, and I'm really excited to be your host today. Now, whether you are somebody who regularly comes to church, maybe you're just barely hanging on, or you just clicked this out of curiosity, I want to say that you are in the right place. And if you're new or you're just checking things out, don't overthink this, because you don't have to have it all figured out to be here. And if you're ready to take your next step, if you have a question, or you just want a real human to follow up with you, text the word connect to the number that you're seeing on the screen below you. No pressure, just conversations. Now, today we are wrapping up our series, Encounters. This is real stories, real people, real moments where someone crossed paths with Jesus and they walked away different. Because that happens when we encounter Jesus, things, they shift. And you know what? Next week is Easter, and this is the moment where everything points to. Everything changes because of this moment. But before we get a little too far ahead of ourselves, we're just going to take this next moment to sing together. So you can sing right where you're at. You can kick back and relax. You can just take a few deep breaths. Whatever you're doing, I just challenge you to lean in a little bit during this time.
Lift your voice, let praise. Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety. Let it rise, let it rise. Let praise arise. We sing your name in the dark and it changes everything. We sing with all we are and we claim your victory. Let it rise, let it rise. Let praise arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. The fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lift him high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, Let faith be the song that calms the storm inside of me. Oh, let it rise. Let faith arise. Oh, we'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. And fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lifted high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, this is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. Yes, this is what heaven sounds like. Yes, it is. We praise you, we praise you. Come on. This is what living looks like. Yes, this is what freedom. Oh, this is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. Yeah, this is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lift him high. With all creation crying out, we praise you. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. Yes, the God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lift him high. With all creation crying out, we praise you. Whoa, we praise you. Whoa, we praise you. Whoa, we praise you. Whoa, we praise you. Amen.
All right. Well, hey, today we are wrapping up our series called Encounters. And over the last few weeks, here's what we've been doing. We've been looking at different encounters that Jesus has with different people along the way. They're all different people, different circumstances, different scenarios, different struggles, but the same thing happened. It was true every time. That was when they had an encounter with Jesus, they were changed. And the reason that we're doing this series isn't just so that we can see their stories and go, how cool is that? We're doing this series because their stories are our stories as well. And what we truly believe is that every single one of us, what can be true is that we can have an encounter, a life-changing encounter with Jesus as well. And so let me just ask a question as we get started today. And it's this: have you ever chased after something hoping that it would make you happy, that it would satisfy, and then you got it, you got there, and then you realize it just didn't live up to what you thought it would? Anyone been there? Anyone? All right, yeah, all right. Well, let me take you back to 1990, all right? Because when I was a little kid, there was only one thing that I wanted, that I was chasing after, and that was a brand new pair of Air Jordan basketball shoes. I was convinced that these shoes were the only thing standing in the way between me and progressing towards a career in the NBA. I knew if I had these shoes, I'd be able to jump higher. I might even be able to touch the net. And so I started doing everything I could do to get these shoes. I saved Christmas money that year. I saved birthday money. I did chores in the neighborhood trying to raise money. I sold baseball cards, everything I could do until I had enough money to buy these shoes. I went and I bought the shoes and brought them home and instantly thought, man, these are so cool. So cool that I didn't even want to take them out of the box or use them. So I just kept them in my room. And finally, my parents were like, well, what are you doing? You worked all that, like, where are the shoes? And so I took them to the gym to play basketball, to the YMCA. I laced them up. They had the lace locks, so I laced them in. Man, they felt good. They felt good. But that's all it was. It was just a feeling because they did not change a thing. I just was not good at basketball. And I know that's a fun story, but it's bigger than that, you know? I mean, it is much bigger than that. Maybe it's a promotion that we thought if we chased after and we got this, it would satisfy. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a new house. Maybe it's that next season of life, whatever it may be, and eventually you get it, and it's great. That feeling is wonderful until it isn't anymore. Maybe it's a couple weeks that go by, or even a day, and then you realize you're right back to where you started. I mean, you're still searching. You're still trying to figure out what's going to satisfy. You're still thirsty. That's what you are. Well, we're going to step into an encounter today out of the book of John. John chapter 4, if you have a Bible and want to turn there, you can do that. But this is the encounter. This is what this person is walking through. This is their story, and this is their struggle. And so if you don't have a Bible, we'd love to give you one at the Next Steps area for free. We'd just love to get a Bible in your hand so you can encounter Jesus on your own. And so you can check that out after service. But we're going to start in verse 3 of John chapter 4. And here's what we read. It says, so he, and John's talking about Jesus here, he left Judea and went back once more to Galilee. Now he had to go through Samaria. Okay, so Jesus is traveling from Judea to Galilee, and as you can see on the map here, Samaria is smack dab right in the middle. And so when John says he had to go to Samaria, you and I are looking at this going, well, of course he had to go to Samaria. How else would he get there? But this was shocking to the Jewish audience because Jews hated Samaritans. I mean, there was this deep hatred. The Samaritans at one point were Jews who along the way abandoned large parts of their religion. They abandoned parts of the Torah, the scriptures that they had. They even married people from other cultures and brought with them their gods, their beliefs, and sort of kind of merged them all together. They built their own temple. They didn't want the temple that the Jews went to. And so they created this culture, this separation, and the hostility ran deep. So deep, in fact, that when people would travel from Judea to Galilee, when Jews would do that, they would actually cross over the Jordan River. They'd head east over the Jordan River. They'd go miles out of their ways. Remember, there's no cars, so they'd go miles out of their way and add days to their trip just so that they could avoid going through Samaria. I mean, Packers fans in the house, this would be like you needing to get to Indiana and thinking, man, I hate Bears fans so much that I'm going to actually travel up north, go around Lake Michigan, down through Michigan to get to Indiana. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, only to realize that the Bears may move to Indiana anyway, so you may be out of luck. But that's what's taking place here. Jesus decides to travel through Samaria. He had to do it, and here's why he had to do it. He had to have an encounter with someone who was there. And so we're going to pick up again in verse 5 now, and it says, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon when a Samaritan woman came to draw water. Okay, so a well in that time, it was more than just a place that people went to draw water. It was actually the social hub for the women of that community. And they would all gather at the well. It's kind of like the sort of like the water cooler at the office. It's where all the conversation happens. And so they would go there. And John tells us something significant. He tells us it was about noon. And you have to remember, this is in the middle of the desert, and it was in the middle of the day when it was its hottest. And what we know to be true is that the women of the community did not go to the well at noon. They got up in the morning before it got hot, and they gathered together, and they went to the well together, talking, laughing, sharing the latest news and the gossip of the town. And that's just how they went to the well. But what we see is this woman, this woman that Jesus meets there, comes at noon, and she comes alone. And we don't know why, but we have some guesses why. I mean, for one, what we're going to read as we go along is the other women did not want to be around her, but the reality is I don't think she wanted to be around anyone else either, because she had a great deal of shame in her life. But look how Jesus treats her in verse 7. He said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone to town to buy food, and the Samaritan woman said to him, "You're a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." Okay, so she's shocked, and there's really layers to why she's shocked. I mean, the first layer, the ground level layer, is that she is a woman, and in that culture and in that time, it was not appropriate or proper for men to have conversation in public with women that were not their wives. And so, this was an inappropriate conversation to begin with, but there's another layer on top of that. Not only is she a woman, but she's a Samaritan woman. As we've already discussed, I mean, there was a deep hatred here. And so she's thinking, why is this Jewish guy talking to me? But then there's another layer on top of that. She's a Samaritan woman with a past. We're going to read more about her past in just a few moments, but there is a reason why she comes to the well alone. There's a reason why she's there at noon. And so she looks at Jesus and she's like, why are you talking to me? And so watch what Jesus does. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water." And so he starts to point her towards something deeper, and she looks at Jesus and has some questions. In fact, she says this, "Sir," the woman said, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water?" Dude, you don't even have a bucket. Like, how are you going to provide me with this living water that you speak of? And Jesus goes on and answers her and says, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again." He's pointing to the well, right? He's at the well. "Anyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life." You see, this woman, she comes to the well with a bucket, and Jesus comes to the well as the living water. And the difference between the two, I mean, it's massive. It's massive. And what's taking place in this is he's saying, look, your whole life, you've been coming to this well to quench a thirst with a temporary solution. And what you need to understand is you cannot quench an eternal thirst with temporary water. It doesn't work this way. You come here every single day, you bring your bucket, you get water, you go back home, the next day you're thirsty again, and so you come back day after day trying to quench a thirst. And get this, like every bucket works until it doesn't work anymore. And isn't that where many of us find ourselves? Like when the emptiness shows up in our lives, we don't stop to ask the question, why am I thirsty? We just reach for whatever bucket would be closest to us. We reach for the next bucket and we start drinking, and maybe it's the next purchase, the next relationship, the next opportunity, whatever that may be. And the next thing, it satisfies for the moment, but then we're thirsty again. And what Jesus is pointing her to, and what he's saying to you and he's saying to me is this: you cannot quench an eternal thirst with temporary water. You just can't do it. And here's what we tend to do when we're empty. When we find ourselves in this place where we need something to satisfy us, here's what we do. We ask the question, am I drinking from the right bucket? Do I have the right bucket, or do I need to find a different bucket? Because here's what I know. Like, there is always another bucket. There's always another bucket. I mean, for instance, let's just walk through this together. There's this bucket. There's the career bucket, right? And we can turn to this bucket and we can, we have this Milwaukee, we have this Midwest work ethic, and, many of us, we work long hours and we do the side hustle, and maybe we have 2 or 3 jobs because not only are we trying to make ends meet, but we're trying to get ahead. And so we just think, if I can only get that next promotion, if I can, only get the pay raise, whatever that if I could only might be, then I'll have enough. And then we get the promotion, we get the title, and we find ourselves still at night. We're laying in bed at 11, looking up at the ceiling saying, man, is this ever going to be enough? Will I ever have enough? Does this career bucket, will it ever satisfy me because I'm still thirsty? And maybe it's in that moment where we turn to a different bucket. So we're laying in bed looking at the ceiling. We turn to the technology bucket. Social media, your phone. That thing that every single one of us probably right now has in our pockets. And, it's oftentimes for some of us, it's the first thing we turn to when we get up in the morning. Before we do anything else, we get our phone out. Before we spend time with God, before we even say good morning to our spouse, we start scrolling. And when you find yourself bored or you find yourself feeling alone, you get out the phone and you start to scroll and read through, people's stories on social media, and we think that it's going to provide some relief and some satisfaction, but then all it does is causes the anxiety to increase. We start finding ourselves going, man, they have their lives together, and what am I doing? And so we scroll and we scroll and we scroll, and every time we put it down, we're not satisfied. Hundreds of times, still not satisfied. And so then we're like, okay, well, there's got to be a different bucket I can turn to. And for many of us, I would say it's this, the relationship bucket. We actually think, hey, maybe someone else can fill my bucket for me. And so we start to go down this road. If I only had someone to date, if I only had a companion, if my spouse, if he only understood me, if she only served me better. And so we just place our hope and our satisfaction in that other person. And sometimes it's not a marriage relationship or a dating relationship. Parents, sometimes we hope our kids will fill this bucket. If I can live through them and their successes, then maybe I'll be satisfied. But what happens is almost always, something happens, they let us down, they don't come through how we think they should, and we find ourselves thirsty and searching yet again. And so we turn to another bucket. And this is really the counterfeit version of that bucket. It promises all the intimacy without any of the relationship. And we turn to the pornography bucket. Okay, and I know many of us are thinking, oh, no, not me, and that's not. Listen, this is a problem that continues to grow, and not just outside of the church, but inside of the church as well. And we turn to this bucket because we think, if I just get a taste, it will satisfy, and I'll experience intimacy and connection. But all it really produces is isolation and shame. And every time we drink from it, we're just more and more thirsty, and thought, man, this just isn't satisfying. And so I need a different bucket. So I'll turn to this one. I'll turn to the bottle bucket. All right, this is Wisconsin. We're a drinking state. Drink Wisconsinably. And so what started for some of us as a way on Friday night to let off some steam and just have a good time becomes an everyday thing where it's like, man, this is how I'm going to cope with the chaos of my life. And so day in and day out, and before long, you just find yourself every night trying to find satisfaction, and every morning waking up going, man, I'm thirsty again and again and again. This bucket, the bottle bucket, it never satisfies. And so I'm going to go to a different bucket, and this one's maybe the most deceiving of them all. And I would call it the clean my life up bucket, or the religion bucket. I'm going to check the box. I'm going to do the religious thing. I'm going to attend church. I'm going to do all the rituals, and I'm going to look really, really clean on the outside. My bucket's going to be impressive, and it's going to look good. But internally, right? Internally, through all of that, there's just something that's not right. And Jesus would say, hey, look, I don't care how clean your bucket is. The question really is, what source are you going to? And so this Samaritan woman at the well, she's starting to see that something looks different, that there's something more here. And so she says in verse 15, the woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I don't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." Okay, so if you can offer me something that solves this temporary problem that I have, I'm interested. I don't want to keep coming here at noon all by myself, and so I'm interested. And what Jesus does next seems so insensitive. In fact, if I were to do this to you as one of your pastors here at the Ridge, you'd be searching the web for another church. And if your counselor did this to you, you'd be like, I need to find a different counselor. And if your friend did this to you, you would say, maybe we're not such good friends and I need to find some new friends. I mean, what he does is he brings up the most painful part of her life. Look at verse 16. He told her, "Hey, go call your husband and come back." "I have no husband," she replied. And Jesus said to her, "You're right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you've had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have just said is quite true." See, Jesus exposes the very thing in her life that's caused pain and brokenness and shame. He exposes the very thing in her life that has caused her to be alone at the well, for people to view her in a certain light. And he says, hey, I want you to take that and I want you to bring it to me. And here's something I don't want you to miss about this woman. And it doesn't say this in the text, but I can tell you from human experience, here's what I know to be true. She didn't wake up one day and say, hey, you know what sounds really great? I'm going to try a bunch of marriages, maybe 5 of them, see if that works. And then after that, I'm going to maybe try this guy. Like, she didn't set out to be married to all these guys and have all this pain. What she was trying to do is she was looking for something that only God can provide, for purpose, for love, for value. She was looking for all of that. And that's the real diagnosis that Jesus is pointing out here. He's basically saying this to her, and he's saying it to you and me. Look, we want what only God can give. We just don't want to go to God to get it. And so we try to manufacture it on our own. We work 60 hours trying to manufacture purpose. We try relationship after relationship, trying to manufacture intimacy. We go from there, and we chase status because we're trying to manufacture significance, and every single time it leads us to the same place: alone, empty, back at the well, looking for more. And so Jesus does something remarkable here in this story with this woman. He says, look, I know your past. I know your brokenness. I know your shame. I know your story. And I want to offer you something better, because you cannot quench an eternal thirst with temporary water. And so what I want to offer you is not just a better bucket. I just want to offer you another bucket that you can try to find significance in, but rather I want to offer you a better source. I want to offer you something that will last. I want you to know that in me you can find your value, and you can discover your identity and your purpose. I want you to know that you can find me and I can quench that thirst, that I'm enough for you. And what I believe to be true is today, for some of us, the encounter that this woman had at the well is the encounter that is available for you and for me. That Jesus would ask the question, in her case, he asked it in a statement. Hey, why don't you go bring your husband back. For us, the question, he would just say this: what is the bucket you keep going back to? Would you bring it to me? You know, when I was in high school, my bucket, the bucket that I chose to constantly go back to was approval. I lived for the approval bucket. In fact, I tried to find that through friends over and over again. I would try to fit in. I would, do things that maybe I didn't even want to do, but I just wanted to be part of the crowd. And I tried to find approval through sports and achievements. And so I'd work really, really hard. I'd work overtime just to make sure that I could find approval. And then I tried to do it through grades. If my grades are good enough, then, my parents will be happy. And I'll be on the honor roll and my name will be, I'm trying to find approval over and over again. And every single time I just came back thirsty until a friend of mine started walking with me, and it led me to have an encounter with Jesus. And in that encounter, I heard Jesus saying, look, I am enough for you. You don't have to find your approval in all these other things. I approve of you. You can find your identity, your purpose, your value in me. And here's the truth that all of us know, even if we've never said it out loud, is just this: you cannot quench an eternal thirst with temporary water. You can't do it. The bucket is always going to be empty. You're always going to be going back for more. It's never enough. And something really cool happens next in this story, because Jesus chooses to reveal something significant about who he is for the very first time in the book of John. And he doesn't do it to a group of religious elites. He doesn't do it to a large crowd on the side of a mountain. He chooses to reveal it to a woman who's at a well in the middle of the day in the heat. And he says these words to her: I am the Messiah. Her past didn't disqualify her. Her ethnicity didn't disqualify her. Her gender didn't disqualify her from having an encounter with Jesus. In fact, it put her in the perfect position to have an encounter with him. And what I want you to hear today as well is there's nothing in our lives that disqualifies us from the grace of God. There is nothing that causes us to not be in this place where we can have an encounter with Jesus. And she came to that well. She was isolated, she was ashamed, she was broken, and she left changed. In fact, look at what verse 18 says, or verse 28, says, we read, then leaving her water jar, the woman went back to town. And so she comes to the well with a jar, and the very reason she came to the well, she leaves it there and runs to town, because once you discover eternal purpose, once you discover living water, the temporary stuff, it just doesn't matter as much. And so she runs back to the town where she came from. That place where no one wanted to be around her, where everyone knew her story, the reason why she had to come to the well at noon. She goes back there and she says 3 words that will transform not just her life, but others as well. She runs back and she says these words: come and see. Come and see. Look, she didn't have years of experience. She wasn't, didn't have a seminary degree. She had just known Jesus for a few minutes, but she said, man, look, my life has been changed. Come and see. Look at verse 29. It says, come and see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah? And so people hear this, they get up, they leave the village, they head out to see Jesus. And when they encounter Jesus, here's what we read: we no longer believe just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this man really is the Savior of the world. Come and see. People respond and they seek Jesus, and their lives are changed. That's the progression that we see. And here's what I want us to just think about for a moment. Next week is Easter. And if ever there were a come and see moment in the history of the world, Easter is it. Right? That Jesus went to the cross for your bucket, for every empty bucket, for your bucket, for my bucket, for every empty bucket there ever was. Jesus went and he died upon the cross. But he didn't stay dead, right? He rose from the grave. He defeated death because he wanted us to know, look, I have something eternal that will last. I have a life that I want to invite you into that will last forever. You can quench that thirst that you have, not with something temporary, but with something eternal. And that is the message of Easter. In this entire series, encounter after encounter, we see the same thing happen. People come and see Jesus, and their lives are changed time and time again. That's the story. And that's what happened to the woman at the well. She couldn't help herself. She experienced this change and thought, man, I just have to tell everybody that I can tell what Jesus has done. And she ran back into town and said, come and see. And so here's what I'm asking you to do with me over the next week. I'm asking you to be the woman at the well. I'm asking you, if you've had an encounter with Jesus, if your life's been changed, if you've discovered what true purpose and hope looks like, to have a come and see conversation with someone in your life who's close to you and yet far from God. And I don't know who that person is for you, but one person, and what I do know is this, even as I'm saying, hey, who's that one person? You know who it is. Maybe it's the coworker who's just picked up bucket after bucket after bucket. Maybe it's the neighbor who has just, relied on this temporary bottle to ease, the pain in their life. Maybe it's, the friend from high school that just keeps pursuing career paths and looking for I don't know who it is, but whoever that is, would you just have a conversation and would you say, hey, come and see the guy who changed my life? Because here's what we see in her story. Here's what we can see in our story. We just simply say, come and see. Let people have an encounter with Jesus and their lives are changed. And I know you have on your seat a card for an Easter invite. And what I would tell you is one of the most significant things, one of the most freeing things that you could do this week, and probably one of the more uncomfortable things, is to go tell someone, hey, would you join me at Easter? Would you come and see? And if it's uncomfortable for you, that's okay, because think about the woman at the well. She had to go back into a town where everyone knew her business and say, hey, come and see. Come and see, because this Jesus can truly change your life. You can't quench an eternal thirst with temporary water. And all you have to do, Jesus says, hey, if you would have just asked, all you have to do is ask for living water, and Jesus makes it available to you. You don't have to try to pursue significance through your career. You don't have to find purpose in a relationship. You don't have to do any of that. All you need to do is say, Jesus, you're enough. That's what happened to the woman at the well. And that's the encounter Jesus wants to have with us. Let's pray. God, I thank you for this story that we read, that just, I think you could read over it, God, and miss the significance of what's taking place here. But at the heart of this story is you, God, who knows our pain, knows our past, knows our failures, knows our fears, knows our shame. You know all of that. You know the buckets that we've been turning to. And God, even as I pray this right now, I know that some of us are maybe even thinking through these buckets that are standing are on stage next to me right now. And one of those buckets is their bucket, or maybe it's a different bucket, but we've just looked for satisfaction through something temporary, and God, you offer us something so much more than that. Not just a better bucket, but a different source. God, would today be a day that we put the bucket down? God, would today be the day that we just choose to stop chasing after these things and we would turn to you? Would today be the day, even for some of us who've followed Jesus for a while now, would today be the day where we just declare, Jesus, you're enough for me. Jesus, only you can satisfy. God, for some of us, this is a moment of repentance right now. We're going to turn from some things in our lives that we've tried to find our identity, our purpose, and our value, and we're going to turn to you. And it's going to happen today, in this moment. It's going to happen. And God, for some of us, today in this moment is a time like the woman at the well where we're going to encounter your son Jesus for the very first time. We're going to receive living water, new life, forgiveness, new purpose. We're going to receive all of that for the very first time because we're going to make the decision, Jesus, I choose to follow you. And if that's you, I just want to invite you into this prayer in this moment. Would you just pray these words? God, I'm tired of trying to do things on my own. I'm tired of trying to find satisfaction through temporary things. God, I'm tired of my sin and my brokenness. And I want to receive forgiveness that can only come from your son, Jesus. I admit that I am a sinner, but Jesus, you've come to die for me. And you would pray these words as well. Today, Jesus, I choose to follow you. I am committing to following you, to making you my Lord and my Savior. I am committing to not just trying a different bucket. I'm committed to changing the source where I find my purpose, my value, my identity. I'm choosing you, to follow you, Jesus. If you made a decision today in this moment, I'm going to ask you to step out of your comfort zone. I think about the woman at the well who left, was uncomfortable, and ran into town. I'm going to ask you, would you just raise your hand and say, I'm in. I'm declaring. I'm going to choose you, Jesus. God, we thank you for the hands that are raised. We thank you that people are discovering what truly matters, and that is a relationship with you, the living water, Jesus. We thank you for that. We pray all of this in your son's name. Amen.
All right, Easter's next week, and this is the big one. Not because it's like a church big, but because it's a life big. You know, Easter is that moment where everything changes because Jesus, he didn't just stay in the grave. Because of that, hope isn't this nice idea. It's real. And here's the thing that I keep thinking about. We probably all know somebody who needs that hope. Could be a friend, a coworker, a family member, or even a neighbor. Somebody who maybe keeps asking you questions, or maybe it's somebody who's not saying anything at all, but you know that there's something off. And the truth is, a lot of people would actually say yes. They're just not going to take that first step. So this week, as you're thinking about that one person, who is it? And just don't overcomplicate this. Just text them and just say, hey, would you be willing to sit next to me? That's it. And as you know, if you're listening to this and maybe you're somebody who is on the fence about church, or maybe you're somebody who walked away a while ago, this is just a great time and a place to step back into it. Easter at the Ridge, it's built for you. It's not weird. It's not heavy. It's a place where you can show up and you can be you. You can be real, and you can explore faith at your own pace. Now, we've got services both here in Greenfield, this is where I'm at right now, or at our Oak Creek Franklin campus. We would generally love to meet you, so come to either one of our campuses. And real quick, for those of you that call Ridge your home, what we do here, the impact that we have, on our community, the environments that we're creating, it happens because people give. And not give out of obligation, but give because they want to be a part of something that creates life change. So we're just going to take this moment right now. If you're new here and you're just checking things out, this is where you can just take a pass. You have my permission to sit this one out. All the ways that you can do this are up on the screen now. And as we're wrapping up, if you're somebody who, you know what, decided today that something just clicked and you want to take that next step and follow Jesus, don't keep that information to yourself. Click the word begin to the number that you're seeing on the screen. We'd love to pray for you and help you take your next steps. Thanks for being here. Come back next week. It's Easter. Bring your one, and expect that to really matter. It's going to be a special weekend. And if you're coming into the building and you recognize me, stop by and say hi. Thanks so much.
In my feet, they do too, 'cause I'm free. Yeah, I'm free. Thank God I'm free. Well, I'm free. When I look at my hands, they look new. When I look at my feet, they do too, 'cause I'm free. Yeah, I'm free. Thank God I'm free. Yeah, I'm free. When I look at my hands, they look new. When I look at my feet, they do too, 'cause I'm free. I'm free. Thank God I'm free. Yeah, I'm free. I wasted so much of life out on my own. If you're the way, truth, and life, what more could I want? What more could I want? 'Cause I laid it all on the line, 'cause I found all I need to find, and I got no plan left besides just Jesus. I don't need odds in the fight, I don't need rolls of the dice, I got no fallback in mind, just Jesus. Just Jesus. The way, the truth, the life. Jesus.
want to ask you the one thing that's on my mind. Is it too good to be true for all my life? Can nobody love me like you? Can somebody please tell me who? Nobody could love me like you. Nobody could love me right through. Nobody could. Right through the worst time, you won't leave me high and dry. Love me like you. Nobody could. If I showed you all of the worst in me, would you choose to still see the best in me? Can nobody love me like you? Can somebody please tell me who? Nobody could love me like you. Nobody could love me right through. Nobody could. Right through the worst time, you won't leave me high and dry. Love me like you. Nobody could. In the middle of my worst disaster, who would stay by my side without me asking? Who could turn all my crying into laughter? Tell me who could ever love me like the way you do? Nobody could love me like you. Nobody could love me right through. Nobody could. Right through the worst time, you won't leave me high and dry. Love me like you. Nobody could. Love me like you. Nobody could.
You don't walk away, it's not who you are. You never sway. far from me, never far from me, yeah. You're never far from me, never far from me. You're never far, your love is close. You're never far.